Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Paul Jasson. We are downtown at the Fairfield Federal Office. Pleasure to be with you on another beautiful day. We're pleased to say here at wintertime in Lancaster and Fairfield County, another beautiful day. We always like saying that. Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today. In a little bit, the second segment of the show, we're going to talk about the Lancaster-Fairfield County Airport. Lots of things going on out there, lots of changes, and it's always fun to update that, one of the great places that we have around town. But we're going to open up our show today with a little artsy kind of talk from the Lancaster Playhouse. They're presenting The Three Musketeers, a well-known movie and just plays and on Broadway and everything. Everybody knows that, but we've got it locally here with the Lancaster Playhouse putting that on, and with us representing that today, to my far right is Ken Culver. Ken is the board member and the PR guy. And if you know Ken, he's good at what he does. He is a PR machine for whatever subject he happens to be pushing that week, which are multiple subjects over the years. We've had Ken on for many of those. And PJ Aubrey is with us. PJ is the director of the Three Musketeers. First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
It's been a little hiatus for the Lancaster Playhouse. You haven't been on for a while because of all things COVID. We understand that. Everybody suffered it. And I know you did a collaboration with the other partners in doing that, but this is your first one back, right?
It is. We actually were ready to go in 2020 with Crimes of the Heart. We were fully rehearsed, ready to go. Props.
Funny thing happened on the way.
Yeah, funny thing happened on the way to the play. We got shut out.
We did 2 performances and that was it.
Is that where you actually got it started?
We got 2 started in the first weekend, and then the governor, of course, stepped in and said, wanted to close things down. So.
And it's been a while.
It has. So you're right. We did collaborate with the Garrett Players and OUL Theater.
That went wonderfully.
Yes, it did.
I hear nothing but good things about that.
Very happy
It was
with
a lot of
that.
fun.
And so we've been in business for 8 years now. We've done a series of plays.
Sure.
We've done very well, and we're very excited about the Three Musketeers. PJ, as a director, could talk forever about it.
She knows it.
Well, very well. And I think the world knows it. In fact, it's been performed, PJ, I think 30, 40 times?
It's got about 50 stage and film adaptations, children's books, like you said, television programs. When they were just talking about Raquel Welch, who was in a very famous 1973 version.
That was one of the more well-known
One
versions.
of the most well-known versions. And it was written in 1844, and it was a serial.
Is it Alexander Dumas?
And it was a serial. And very popular even then. And I think it continues to be popular because it speaks to those wonderful things, love, heroism,
great
triumph
story.
over evil. It's a great story. And who doesn't love a wild adventure with sword fighting and,
You've never done this before?
I've never done this show.
With the Lancaster Playhouse, they've never done it either?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And this particular version, Ken Ludwig is a modern playwright. And it's a nice adaptation. It's got some modern twist to it. It's got some modern humor in it. But it's still that wonderful classic story of heroism and young romance and
Little skullduggery, I think.
Skullduggery, yeah, I've got to have
Skullduggery.
skullduggery. There's
I like
always
that.
great evil characters. We've got some wonderful,
Well, we've got a poster, and we'll put that up here, and it's coming up on March 3rd and 4th at 7:30,
Right.
March 10th and 11th at 7:30, and then March 12th at 2. And it's really about 100 yards, maybe less, from where we stand up at Maria's.
Yes.
They have a beautiful, remember when that was the Elks building, that was
Right.
a marvelous
Right.
floor and stage, so that's where it's going to be. The magic happens there.
That's where the magic happens, and so you're like you say, 100 steps up and away you go. And of course, people who are already signed up, who have tickets, are also making it a dinner theater, so you can have a nice Mexican meal in front of the restaurant.
Perfect.
And go back and enjoy the play.
And so you can get tickets online.
Yes, absolutely. You can get them online. all you have to do is just Google Lancaster Playhouse. That'll take you right to our site. There's a ticket button. It's very, very easy. Very,
You
very.
could reserve them. You can pick
You
them
can
up.
reserve them.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
select your seats.
Okay,
The
nice.
good news
Very
is
nice.
that unlike other organizations, we don't charge for that. It's a $20 ticket, and you don't have to pay a convenience
Service fee.
fee. Right.
Well, that's been a big stink in the last year or
Well,
so.
it
Taylor
has.
Swift has kind of brought out ticket
Yes.
sales can be.
Absolutely.
The
We
magic
are-
could be hurt by that.
We're not Ticketmaster.
Yes, I
We're
understand.
your local theater group, and we give you good quality at a reasonable price.
Now, is this the first play in a season of plays to come up, or do we know?
Well, we'll be doing a fall production.
We're going to do
Okay.
a fall production. We hope to be able to announce that by late spring.
Okay.
What we might be doing, and just a shout out, of course, to Chico, who owns Maria's Mexican Restaurant.
They
who
do a
is
great job.
So supportive.
Oh, isn't that super?
And encouraging, and my fabulous cast of 17 people.
I was going to ask about that. Any trouble getting people back lined up for this, or everybody's
No,
ready to go?
People were ready to go, and
Sure.
the cast comes from. We've got maybe 3 people coming from the Reynoldsburg area. Have
Regional.
our D'Artagnan is a Logan High School student.
Nice. A
So
student.
it's yep,
Nice.
senior in high school,
Nice.
and so we've got really nice cast, some familiar faces from the community, all age ranges. So it's really they're a tremendous cast, and they've been working really hard.
I thought maybe Ken would come in as one of those swashbuckling kind of hats, with the sword and ready to go. I mean,
I appreciate your confidence, but there's a lot of sword fighting, and
Sure.
Yes.
sword fighting is too high for my pay grade. So
PR is a better.
I think so. I don't wield a sword very well.
We got the Lancaster Playhouse. It's the Three Musketeers. It's a comedy adventure from the Alex Dumas novel. It's March 3rd and 4th, March 10th and 11th, and March 12th. So you've got several productions going on here, and 17 people in the cast. It's so like an energetic way to
It
come
is.
back. I mean, lots
It
of
is.
moving parts.
Lots of moving parts. We picked something we wanted to be exciting, involve a lot of people in the community, something fun, a romp, if you would, and just at a chance for people to experience something. We hired a fight choreographer from Columbus because of the
Fight
swords.
Club.
Exactly, and so it's quite the adventure.
It's interesting
Yeah.
that you've done that. A little bit of everything coming on. here.
Absolutely, the Three Musketeers is much more than a candy bar.
That's right.
Excellent line, Kenny.
I think that the community will be wowed by this production.
Yeah,
Very
great way to
excited.
come back?
Absolutely.
Was it intentional to bring this back? I mean, this is
Yes.
one you were in your mind thinking, when we come back, this is where we'll go.
Yes, absolutely.
And isn't again, what a great place to have it up there. I mean, beautiful stage, beautiful court there to have all this on.
Yes, and a wonderful opportunity for people, like Ken was saying, come down for the evening into
Yeah.
downtown Lancaster and have a dinner, see a play, and enjoy our community.
Did we talk about that? Is it $20?
$20.
$20 a ticket.
$10 for students.
Okay, 10 for students.
Right.
Okay.
And again, no extra fee tacked on. It's a reasonable price for community theater. So, and our ticket sales are brisk. We're doing very
Really?
well.
Really?
So,
Can they get a table, or it's just individual and then you pick your seats?
Well, the seats are reserved.
Yes.
But it's not table seating.
Okay.
It's auditorium seating.
Okay. So you eat in the restaurant and then go into
Right.
Come on
the
over.
play.
Right.
And that starts at 7:30 and then at 2.
there'll be a cash bar during
Sure.
during intermission, whatever.
Adult beverages always help.
Absolutely. They always help.
Well, it's the Lancaster Playhouse presentation of the Three Musketeers. Having fun directing this again. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Enjoying myself immensely.
Good.
Yeah.
Board's up and running on this, and everything
Board is up and running. We
moving
have a
and-
very active full board. We're very excited because I think just like the whole world, we were just like a car in a garage waiting to get going, getting this COVID behind us and get started again.
Well,
And
this
so,
is a perfect way to come out.
and so the It's a Wonderful Life collaboration was a good beginning for us, and now we're ready to move forward again.
Well, it's just a great. I guess the only way I've ever seen it is through a couple adaptations of movies, which are just wonderful to see on TV. Lots of color up there, lots of swashbuckling
Yep.
going on.
Absolutely. And we've got the big hats.
That's excellent. I like that.
And we're also glad to be downtown.
Yes.
We want to be a downtown theater, and so that helps the community too. So, and this community needs and supports community theater.
It does.
We have a nice variety with the Garrett players with the scripted reading, and the Ohio University Victor's program.
Victor does such a great job and has for many years.
And so we're filling another niche here.
Yeah.
And we can afford to do that. This community can support easily three.
I've talked with usually it's the people that I have on for musical things like the chorale and Clarence McCoy with the Lancaster Community Chorus and Ham and Eggs with the men's chorus. But there used to be in a town this size, you got out of high school, went to college, that was it.
Yeah,
If
right.
you wanted to sing, there was no other. Well, now you can come back here and there's barbershop, there's women's groups, there's all kinds of men's groups, and the same now for people that are in the more dramatic side. You don't have to be an acting major to get in this. You'll be having auditions here for your next one coming up here in the summer and the fall. So lots of opportunities here. What was the website again?
The website as well, it's the LancasterPlayhouse.org.
And that's where you can find all the information,
Exactly.
online ticket
It's
sales.
very,
right
very
up here
easy
at
to
Maria's.
navigate. You just hit the Get Tickets button, and it'll walk you right through. I've gotten tickets over the years with various sites. This is the easiest one I've ever seen. That's very
easy. Helpful.
Absolutely.
Very helpful. It's the Three Musketeers. It's March 3rd and 4th, March 10th and 11th. Both those are at 7:30 p.m. And then March 12th, the afternoon one at 2. It's up here at Maria's, just 100 yards from where we are now. It can be a dinner and a play kind of thing. It would be a great opportunity, wonderful place. Best of luck on this. It's going to be great fun. PJ Aubrey, who is the director, and Ken Culver, who is on the board, both board members of Matter, but Ken is the PR leg of all this here. So best of luck here at the event space of Maria. It's going to be fun.
Thank you, Paul. Hope to see you there.
I'd like to come. I
Thanks
hope
for
I can
the
make it.
opportunity
Oh,
to
that's
talk
right.
about it.
We love to promote theater. Like you say, it's a wonderful addition to everything
It
that's
is.
going on here in Lancaster,
Absolutely.
Fairfield County. Three Musketeers, March 3, 4, 10, 11, and 12. We'll be back at Fairfield today.
Thank you, Paul.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
The staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
My name is Scott Duff, and I'm the director of the Fairfield County Overdose Response Team, and I'm here today to discuss Narcan. Narcan is the opioid overdose reversal medication. Narcan saves lives. We have saved countless lives in our community by providing Narcan to those with substance abuse disorders. We would very much like you to consider carrying Narcan on a regular basis. Narcan can be obtained easily in your community by reaching out to the Fairfield County Overdose Response Team at 740-901-1598.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
How can I better manage my heart condition?
From cardiac emergencies to routine visits, our experts specialize in the latest treatments to keep you feeling your best. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson. As we kind of foreshadowed a little bit before, we're going to talk about the Fairfield County Airport. great thing to have a regional airport here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. We're fortunate to have it in our own backyard right up here, just a few miles up the road on Route 33. Got a couple of guys that really know the inside scoop, because there's lots of changes going on at the Fairfield County Airport. And to talk about that is on my far right, John Kochis. John kind of handles all the internal development and growth and things that are changing out there, the physical layout. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's something the commissioners have put forward. As a county employee, I have a little extra time to maintain that county.
You have a real job.
I have many couple hats to wear.
That's right. We've had him on with the emergency management, everything you do over there. That's great. And then Glenn Burns, right here with us. Glenn is a pilot himself. Are you a pilot, John?
I am not.
Know. Okay.
I'm not.
Glenn what? Maybe still is. I don't know.
No, I haven't flown in 5 years.
Haven't flown for a while, but certainly was a pilot and is the president of the board out here at the, is it officially the Fairfield County Airport?
Fairfield County Airport Authority.
Airport Authority. And that's important to know, because maybe some people don't know that you really fall under the auspices, as John indicated, of the commissioners.
Correct.
They're the
appointing authority.
Appointing authority. So they have the final say on a lot of things out there.
Yeah, they pretty much let us operate the airport in the most efficient way. They own the property. They own the improvements.
They don't want to run the airport. They just want to be over it.
Yeah, it's a good partnership, and it recognizes that to have pilots buy in and people that actually use the airport would be the best way to manage it.
Well, we'll start with you, John, on this when we talk about a year we've just come out of, 2022. Lots of things going on, but you guys have just continued to grow out here at the airport.
It's right. We definitely have seen a record year this year.
Record year.
On what we call operations. So that's planes leaving and planes returning. A lot of that is to the training aspect. We train a lot of people at the airport. A lot of people get their first lesson and then on through to their commercial pilot's licenses. Really starts at the Fairfield County Airport.
And I guess this is where you trained out here originally. This is where you learned, and now you're kind of overseeing other people that get the same break.
It is. It's a great training airport, and kind of jumping the gun here, but even with the upcoming runway closure temporarily, we'll still be able to do training because there'll be enough usable runway left that we can continue.
And we'll talk about that. This is a good segue into that, Glenn. You're going to be, one of the runways is going to be closed?
Well, we only have one.
And it's going to be closed?
It's going to have what we call a displaced threshold. It'll be a little shorter.
Okay.
So we just
still open.
Yes.
So that probably limits some of the type of planes that you can bring in?
Yeah, a few.
Won't be any commercial jet traffic during that period of time.
Yep, all the United flights will have to go this way.
Have to go onto that little airport in Columbus.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah, well, but and it's amazing. And again, I talk about growth out there. I think about this as it's always been around ever since I was a kid here in town. It's always been out there. Again, we're fortunate to have a place like this in our community. And Glenn, if you were the king of the airport, I know you're the president of the board. You may think you're king at sometimes, I know that. But if you were the king and wave a magic wand, you would probably build a lot more hangars. If they could appear tomorrow, that would be perfect for you.
Funny you should mention that because that is in the plan.
Really?
To build some new hangars. We currently have a waiting list of about 20 people awaiting hangars, and we're in negotiation with the commissioners to make that happen in the not too distant future.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess that'll keep you busy when we talk about all this development and things out there. I think about 20 hangars. I guess when I think of the airport, I guess I didn't realize there was that much room out there to do that.
Yeah, we actually have several building sites as kind of laid out in our plan. What we want to tackle first with the commissioner's support would be our general aviation hangars. The smaller Cessna type aircraft, they go in what's called a T hangar. And
that would be the individual planes that people own?
That's right,
okay.
Yeah. And that's the bread and butter of the airport.
Sure.
We probably have 70 of those types of hangars. And as Glenn mentioned, we've been on a waiting list for several years to get into one of those T hangars. So first step is addressing that no vacancy kind of aspect right now.
Sure.
And then we also have some plans for commercial development of commercial hangars. Bring a little more business into the airport and and what we can do with aeronautical type of businesses on the
Is the commercial aspect of the airport, is that the future of this airport?
I'd say mixed use. I mean, we want to have a balance of all.
Sure. You
Generally,
always want it to be Lancaster. Always want to be people that train out here, that learn to fly out here, that keep it busy. But commercial airport, I'm sure that's a big part of what you do.
And looking into our crystal ball, I mean, in the little further down the road future, there's property to the north of the airport that could be used for a small commercial air park for aviation-related businesses that need direct access to our airport, and that's on our wish list as well.
Sure. One of the things that when we talk about the airport, one of the things that people always mention is, are we ever going to have another air show here? I'm sure this is not the first time this has ever been mentioned to you boys, but is that something that is in the future?
We get that question a lot.
Sure.
And
I know it's a complicated question.
Well, the answer right now is maybe in 24.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure. And there's a lot of things to consider on that, and a lot of, especially now you've got some things going on here this year.
Right.
Yeah. And the big key with the air shows is that we, the board, typically have never put those on. We did have one celebration of our anniversary that we put on, but the air show is a partnership with a vendor, so to speak. Sure. Our historical aircraft squadron.
And they're the ones that kind of oversee it.
Right. So someone has to have a good, solid business plan for us to use that.
Yeah, so maybe in the future it might still be out there, because that's always such a fun time to see that around here when you see those planes coming in and going out there. I mean, it's just and you see the traffic at the airport backed up. They can't even get into, because there's kind of one way in and one way out.
That's
I
right.
think we know that. So I'm sure, again, if you could wave your magic wand, you'd like to do that, but it's a complicated process.
It is, and it's an expensive venture.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And all it takes is a rainy weekend maybe to make that kind of difficult.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When we look at, we've talked, John, about growth out here and about a regional airport. There's always a place for an airport like Lancaster around a Port Columbus. I mean, airports like this are important.
Yeah, I guess we're giving away the business model here, but we want to feed off of the growth of Central Ohio.
Sure.
It's harder and harder to fly in through John Glenn. Newark has some limitations on the amount of property that they have. Delaware, all these different county airports that want to feed into the growth. Mm-hmm. I think our location is poised to really capitalize on the development of the east side of Columbus through the Intel project and further on. And then we're really set up well because we don't have the demand of a corporate or commercial cargo like Rickenbacker. Yeah. So we're just kind of in that middle space where we could handle some light business, commercial, and still keep our general aviation pilots.
And with a 5,000-foot runway, we are able to handle business jets, and we get a fair number of business jets coming in here. And with the growth that's happening in our county, having an airport that they can come directly to rather than land at Port Columbus and take ground transportation to here is a big plus.
I was going to mention that. I would imagine that when prospective people, businesses maybe more than anything else, that the economic people in the city and the county talk about, and they bring them in, look at what we've got. We've got parks, we've got schools, we've got this. And many of them, I'm sure something important would be an airport that would have that access, 30 minutes you're in Columbus.
Absolutely.
You could be here. I'm sure there are companies that care about that.
Yes.
Yeah. And more as like you say, as the economic development goes on here and the growth we know here in Lancaster and Fairfield County is just growing exponentially. Yeah. I'm sure it only means more positive things for you guys.
Yeah, if you're a corporate executive and you have the choice to fly in and have your car pick you up at your plane versus going through everything that happens at John Glenn, I think the choice is pretty easy. We deliver people to downtown Columbus just as fast or not faster.
Sure. My guests are John Kochis, who is kind of the internal development director and handles a lot of the project with the engineering and things about the airport. John is on my far right, and in the middle here is Glenn Burns, and they are both board members. Glenn is the president of the board, and we talk about things out there. We talked about a little bit about private lessons. Do they still do skydiving out here? Is that something that occurs anymore?
Not on purpose.
No, no, that's not. We haven't had that for a few years.
Yeah, and so it's what, just the basic, getting your first time on learning how to fly and teaching you everything about that.
Yes, and the folks that run the airport will give rides to people. You can do that if you desire, but mainly training is what goes on there.
Helicopter? Is that
Helicopter
anything involved
training,
in that too?
Absolutely. Helicopter training is one of the few places in Ohio that you can do helicopter training.
Really?
Yeah.
We train a lot of the pilots for the State Highway Patrol,
really?
for corporation. There's a lot of different clientele that come in just for that helicopter operation.
A whole nother thing.
Yeah, and very few airports are offering both, plus a lot of maintenance to support all of those activities. So really some exciting things that people on the airport now are going to bring in the future.
And with our proximity to Rickenbacker, it's a good airport for the helicopter. The Blackhawks, you'll hear them come in there a lot. And
everybody's always
night.
talking about that.
Yeah.
They visit quite often.
Yeah, sure. And the explosion of Rickenbacker in the last few years, it's maybe not surprising, but maybe it is a little bit, because, I mean, with John Glenn right there, Rickenbacker, I mean, you guys are, again, poised to be in the right place at the right time.
I think we are.
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, you guys do a great job out there. It's a wonderful airport. Thanks for all you do. We're looking forward to lots of great things coming out here, and the growth is, I guess, still in front of the airport. It's certainly not limited. The future is still out there, and it looks pretty bright.
It does.
So your next show is going to be in the air.
I don't know about that. I was out there once, and I went up in a balloon out there once, and maybe a few feet off the ground is
You were brave enough to ride with me once, as I recall.
I did, and I made it back to tell the story.
One of the few.
John Kochis and Glenn Burns with the Lancaster Fairfield County Airport Authority. Would I be correct on it? Very good.
Correct.
Thanks for all you do out there. It's a joy having this airport here and all the fun things that it brings.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.